again. So I'm trying this again. Before I tried it on this thing, which kept cutting out on me, and I couldn't really get any continuity. So I'm going to try it with this device, which is it's cool. I like the mobility of the camera though, because then I can walk around with it. I just have to just sit here. I guess I could probably turn the camera this way or that way. Or I could conversely, I could take the camera off. That's fucking awesome. Look at this now. I could take it's got a really not very wow. So here I took the camera off. Okay, so the camera's in my hand. So if I talk to the camera that's in my hand, that's what I'm talking at. The camera's not in the computer anymore. It's in your hand, ding dong. Okay, so I have the camera in my hand, which is making me nervous. So I guess I could put it maybe I could put the camera on my phone. That's ridiculous. You can't do that. That's not gonna work. So let's just put the camera back where we had it on top of the computer. I got the cord in the way. So I'm just going to do this. I'm just filling in the time here, trying to work on stuff, trying to get some kind of continuity going, which hasn't actually really happened for very long. But fortunately, I have a lot of small projects. This is the ADHD, whatever. Is I just do a lot of little things, and I do a little thing, and then I get tired of doing that, and then I do something else. I get tired of doing that, and then I do, things like that. I just do that all the time. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Because it makes sense to do. It makes sense to me to do things that way. It's just my style. It's kind of a, patchwork situation, a patchwork style. Patchwork. My whole universe is like patchwork. It's like my legs all a little cut up thing, all stuck together. Kind of Franken world. Oh look, I have paint on my arm. Paint in there. I always knew that. I always thought it would be like I remember when I was younger thinking that my life would be like Granny Square, like Granny Square. So there's all these little, like a patchwork quilt or Granny Squares, which would be appropriate because, the best time to write about your life is when you're looking at it from, when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to look back at it. I've been taking notes for a long time. I lost a lot of my notes along the way. I just take notes because I'm just like, I don't know what the hell. My entire life is what the fuck am I doing here? It's like basically what my life tends to be about. So I never know what's going on, so I'm always trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm always slightly baffled because nothing ever makes sense. So that's one of the beauty parts about getting older for me and taking notes is that I can construct some kind of quasi-coherence out of my chaotic life. So, which is why I like being in one space, which I haven't been in one space for most of my... No, that's not right. I haven't been in one space for most of my life because, when I was young, we stayed in one place for 7 years and then moved around a lot after that. So, and I wonder how come some people get to stay in one place all the time? Maybe they're better people. I don't know. It's like with my kids. Why I had to explain to them that kids, came to two parents, had better toys from Santa Claus because their parents had more money. I just, maybe it's a punishment for whatever. I don't really know. I hate to think that my kids were punished for me, saying, okay, whatever, you want to do that, do it. If I had taken Stephen to task and I had sued him and made him give me money or whatever, maybe that would have been good for him. I don't really know, but that's just, I don't really, I tend to think that a person should do something because they want to do it, not that they should, But I mean, I do things because I want to do them. I mean, didn't complain about Stephen leaving because I wanted kids. I like kids. I like having kids. I like the whole, I mean, I went to Catholic school. We had the big families. Big families were very congenial. They were very, fun and funny. And I grew up with books like, Cheaper by the Dozen, which was funny. I mean, just kind of the acceptance that life is funny sometimes, And we read. Yeah, came from a big family, basically. And I always thought that the ideal of having a big family was a great thing, to me. So I just wanted to have kids. So as you get Stephen, he wasn't really into it. So was it right for me to force him to do what he didn't want to do, or is it that he didn't know what was the right thing to do? I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I just assume that, whatever he did is the right thing for him to do, and I feel like that about most people. Okay, well, I don't really know what people. I have no idea. I can't really. It's hard enough for me to understand what I'm doing. It's really hard for me to understand what I'm doing lots of the time. So it's certainly not for me to, have anything. I don't have anything to say. I do sometimes a little bit, but not that much to say about what other people are doing. I mean, if it's getting in, if you're standing on my toe, I'm going to say, can you get off my toe? Because you're standing on it, but that's about it. I mean, there's a certain level of comfort that I require, and it's not that big. I mean, I was in the hostel in Vancouver with no money, and I had a wonderful time. I did. I made sure that I had a wonderful time. Even when I was in a homeless shelter in San Diego, where I was, sort of kicked to the curb. I mean, I could have dwelled on the fact that, they kicked me to the curb and put me in a homeless shelter. Well, you deserve it. But then when I got to the homeless shelter, and it was called The Eye, and it was in Escondidas, California, which is Hidden Valley. And so I went into the Hidden Valley homeless shelter for battered women, feeling pretty battered, not physically, but emotionally. I was battered. I felt just really, and that's when I first spoke. Well, probably the only time I ever spoke. No, not the only time, but the first time I spoke to Fleming Funch was I was in San Diego, and I called him because I was just stressing out. I was like, here I am stuck in San Diego, and I just whatever. I didn't know. He was very good and calming and very rational, so I was able to calm down, and then got through the whole thing, which wasn't a big deal. I mean, whatever. I slept in the van, and then I went in the homeless shelter, and I loved it there, I should have actually stayed there if I was very sensible. I could have stayed there because I don't know why I left. Because I always go back to my parents, who are dead now. So I really don't need to go back to my parents because, whatever. But anyway, so I could have stayed in San Diego and in a homeless shelter because I was cooking for them and they loved it. I mean, they just absolutely loved it. They assigned us chores, so I got to cook, and I like cooking. I actually love cooking for people that are enjoying the cooking that I'm doing. I'm really happy to cook if somebody's enjoying the cooking that I'm doing. So there was all these ladies and their kids in the homeless shelter, so I got to cook for them, and they made them very happy. Food makes people really. Good food has the capacity to make people really, really happy. It makes me really happy. I love good food. So anyway, I just like food. I'm starving to death for me. But anyway, talking about feeding the ladies. So they liked it because I would take requests. I'd say, well, is there anything you'd like me to make for, we would have a house meeting. We have house meetings with all the ladies in the living room, and we talk about, people got assigned chores, and they always said that I should cook because I'm a really good cook. I can be a really good cook when I want. I'm not cooking much these days. I just kind of heat up some oatmeal once in a while, which is delicious. I mean, I had oatmeal this afternoon with apples and cinnamon and butter and maple syrup. It was delicious. So I mean, I have simple taste, and the ladies had simple taste, and they really enjoyed the food that I make. I think that that's one place that I really like. I like to I like functioning in the kitchen because it's something that's really basic. Like people don't need financial planning. They really don't need websites, but everybody needs to eat, and that's how humans roll. And not only do they need to eat, but it's really imperative that they eat food that's good for their bodies. That's not poisonous or whatever. I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, if that's one of the reasons why I moved to Prince Edward Island, because I'm perspicacious, meaning that I can see what's going to happen if you keep going that way. This is going to happen because that's right there. People they don't see that, but so I'm like, well, this is really not so good because when I was a kid, we lived on an estate, so the food was very good. My father grew all the vegetables and things like that, so we got really good food, lots and lots of fresh vegetables, and whatever. My father worked for his uncle in the butcher store in the Bronx, so once a week he would go down there and he would bring back a box of meat. Who knows, it was maybe the heads of his enemies. I have no idea what it was, but anyway, he would bring back a box of meat, bologna and ham and stuff like that. Steaks, shell steaks, sweetheart steaks, we used to call them. But anyway, so we always have lots of good food. But I think that it's good for people to eat good food. And so for me, I mean, I think if I'm gonna, I remember when I was a kid thinking, well, what am I gonna do when I grow up? And it seemed to me that possibly the most important thing to do would be to nurture other beings, because I mean, there were no other kids when I was a kid. There were no other kids in the universe. No, there was no other kids. I had cousins. So there was kids in the city, but there was no kids in my neighborhood. There was no neighborhood. I lived on an estate. There was no people, except for the people who owned the estate, and they came only on some weekends or holidays and stuff like that. So it was really just me and my parents on this huge piece of land with orchards and gardens and fruit trees and rose bushes and long paths, with flowers. Going down to a beautiful little lake with a gazebo up in the hills, and we could ride our toboggan. I mean, it was a really idyllic kind of childhood in a wonderful way. It was wonderful. But then, I mean, the thing that we would want to have, for me, I had to have invisible playmates. Oh, look at this! Isn't this fun? And my parents were good playmates for me sometimes. They liked to play, and they were still young. They weren't overworked, so they really liked to play. And I only like to play. So it's like, but I mean, if you're gonna play, you also have to live in a world where people have to live. So if you're going to live, you might, if we're going to live, if we're going to be, let's live. If you're going to exist, why not enjoy it? I mean, that's what I think. It's my concept of reality is if you're going to live, why not enjoy it? I think enjoying life is probably your biggest, obligation. I think your obligation in life is to enjoy yourself. That's what I really think. And that's kind of the basis of my philosophy. It's go back to Stephen again. Stephen, I had these kids, I love them. They're wonderful. They were wonderful kids. They're not always wonderful, but overall, they're very exciting, interesting, engaging. I mean, they're 4 boys. They're just endlessly entertaining. Perils, the trials and tribulations, but I love them. I think they're wonderful. So for me, it's like, well, Stephen, I mean, this is a trip. If you don't want to be on it, then do something else. It's really simple. If you don't want to, if you don't want to be here, go somewhere else. That's my bottom line. If you don't want to play this game, play whatever game you want to play. But I'm always the same, playing my game. Drive you insane. I don't try to drive people insane, and that's why I stay. when you go out and people are complaining, why are they complaining? I have no idea. I don't even care. It's like, well, I can stay. I mean, I'm used to it. I spent, the first 7 years of my life, first 5 years, I guess, alone, and happy with it. And then I had baby sisters, and they were wonderful. Yeah. And that was the first 7 years. After that, things got a little weird, because we had it wasn't because of the girls. They think it's their fault. Maybe partially, but it was because we had reduced circumstances. We had to move into a town, which I loved. I loved living in it. We moved to Shrub Oak from there, which was from the Winters Estate. We moved to Shrub Oak, which was a really nice little town. And, I think it's in Westchester. It's in Westchester County. I originally lived in Putnam County, but Shrub Oak is in Westchester County. And it's real nice. It's a lovely little town, and I really like living there. And so we moved into that house, and I enrolled in the school there. And it was second grade, so it was my second grade. My first second grade teacher's name was Mrs. Chudy, Tchudy, Chudy. I remember her very nicely, and I still know a lot of the people that I went to school with. Not a lot. I know some of the people that I went to school with. Some of them I don't know where they are. They're probably dead. But anyway, so that was a nice little town, and in that town I roamed around because I was used to roaming around. I mean, for the first 7 years of my life, I roamed around and did whatever the heck I wanted to do because my parents were like that. They trusted me. They, taught me how to take care of myself. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do that. If this happens, come to us. And then even when my sisters were little, my parents let me watch them. They trusted me to look after them, and I did look after them. And the only incident that where there was any harm that came to any of them was one time when Roberta was running, but she was just walking. She was like a toddler. She was running down the hill and she started running, and I had running after her, and going, Roberta, no, and she's running down this hill, and then she trips and falls, and she cut her head on a ceramic pipe, like a drain pipe that was sticking out on the side of the driveway. So she cut her head and bleeding profusely. So I had to pick her up and carry her, and she's bleeding all over me. And I carried her up the stairs, up the driveway to the humans, to the grown-ups, to the humans, to the grown-ups where the grown-ups were, and so. Then I was in trouble because why did you let her do that? Why did you let her? Well, I didn't let her. I turned away for a second, and then she was gone. So I mean, I was much more careful after that. I paid more attention. I don't even know how she got away, but that was traumatic for me that happened. So I felt really bad. I don't think there was any problems with the other kids. I know that when Patty was born, one of our aunts, and I think it was Aunt Rose, wouldn't let me hold Pat. And I was used to carrying, I slugged Roberta around all over the place. I always had her, I was like 5, I had her on one hip, as if she was my baby doll, and strolled her, she was like a toy. So, anyway. But anyway, when Patty was born, Aunt Rose was like, don't touch the baby, you might hurt the baby. I guess she had heard that Roberta cut her head, but I didn't do it, I don't know, but she's like, oh, you might hurt the baby, and like, well, I'm not going to hurt the baby, that's just not my nature to do that. I don't have any interest in hurting the baby. So when she's going, you're going to hurt the baby, I was affronted, So that was the only incident that was unpleasant in that regard. But as for one's old Italian relatives, it's one of my favorites. My favorite stories is to tell is that story that my father, which is true, that my dad taught me how to swim before I could walk in the Brandywine Creek in Pennsylvania, I was born in Coatesville, Pennsylvania, and we lived in Westchester. But so my dad taught me how to swim in the Brandywine Creek. So by the time I was 3, which is when the incident which I'm about to relate according when I was around 3 or 3.5, because I remember that my sister wasn't born yet and I was little. So, but anyway, all the Italian relatives came up from the city where they lived. My father had moved north into Westchester, Putnam County. Westchester, then Putnam, because he had gotten a job with the Veterans Administration in Montrose. So that's why we moved up. You know, I guess he didn't want me in the city for some reason. But anyway, so we moved up to there, and he got the job with the Veterans Hospital. And then where they created a post for him, he was the chief of rehabilitation for the Veterans Hospital. And I mean, I think that's kind of a good thing. Like, I don't know, maybe there's alternative stories, but that's the story that I grew up with. Maybe that's true. You know, it's like it's Darth Vader. You know, it could be the evil emperor. Oh, I know. I don't really know, but that's how it relates to me. So he had taught me how to swim before I grew up. So all the Italian relatives are up for a visit, and we're strolling around the estate looking at, you know, all the beautiful orchard with pear trees and apple trees and the basket picker. You know, you could pick them in beautiful long deer grass that grows so beautifully in places like that. And you know, the gardens and the thing that, you know, we had big high bush blueberries with my dad put cheesecloth over them so that the birds wouldn't eat all the berries. You know, things like that. You know. The compost pile, you know, there was a gazebo. It was a nice place to live. It was like a yellow rose bush at the bottom of the hill. It was really beautiful. But anyway, so the old Italian relatives are up, and we're strolling around, and we get to the bottom of the hill where there was a little pond. That was resulted from damming up this little stream. So there was a pond and with a dock, and a rowboat. You know, canoe. It's very nice, very fun. So we go down to the pond, and I go running off the end of the dock and into the water. You know, diving head first. My dad taught me how to dive. He also. So I dived into the water, and all the relatives start screaming, "The baby fell in the water! The baby fell in the water! Oh my God!" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" I mean, I didn't know that word, but I was like, "What? What's wrong with these people? Like, the baby can swim. Okay, so just relax." But that's like this, almost the story. That's almost like the story of my life, in a lot of ways. I did go swimming recently. I like swimming. I love swimming, actually. I always like swimming. But anyway, so that's my story for now. I just want to practice doing this live broadcasts, see if I can get it right. Oh yeah, this is let's see what we're listening to while I'm here. Where did my glasses? I can't find them now. This is really what annoys me about myself. Oh, here they are, right in front of me. I lose my glasses. That's why I have like 20,000 pairs of glasses around here. So God forbid I should lose my. Because I read a story about this guy who all the other human beings died, and he loved to read, so he didn't really care. And so, but the trouble was that he only had one pair of glasses, and he accidentally stepped on them and broke them, and he couldn't read. Which is just hilarious, because when I can't find my glasses, I read like this, like that, which people think is really funny. And probably is really funny, but I wouldn't let breaking my glasses stop me from reading. I mean, I read on this screen a lot now because it's I love it. I mean, I like other media. I like books. Yes, I do. I like comic books. I like, you know, albums and TV shows and plays. And I mean, I love all that stuff. I love all of the art. I think they're a lot of fun. What am I talking to? I'm staring at. What am I staring at? The camera is up here. Eyes up here. Hey you. Eyes up here. Okay. Oh, okay. So anyway, I'm trying to think. What am I listening to here? It sounds like it's Romeo and Juliet, ballet in 4 acts, Opus 64, Prokofiev. Russian ballet. So I mean, I did grow up with classic, you know, music to a certain degree. You know, I went to Radio City and I went to some concerts, you know, classical music concerts, chamber music concerts. I had a little suitcase record player with a stack of vinyls, I guess, a stack of 33 in the third or 78 RPM records, and I used to love to play them. I think this was on it. It's very familiar to me. It was called the Festival of Light Classical Music, and it was from the Reader's Digest. You know, and it was really nice. You know, so that kind of introduced me to my love for classical music. And then after classical music, and then, oh my God, I discovered Les Paul. You know, it was like my first. I always say Les Paul was my first crush because I was entranced by the guitar. I mean, I love the symphonies. It's a different dimension altogether. You know, I mean, orchestral music is a different texture, it's a different everything from classical music. How about we change the music and see what we can? Well, we're gonna have Russian ballet favorites on for a while, I guess. I'm just listening to Pandora. So, we can have live chat. Wow. So I'm going to try this for a while, and then I'm going to try Facebook. I'm not toothless by any means. All right. So I guess I'm done because I'm getting hungry. So I'm going to go eat something for a change. Let's see if I can rustle up some grub. Okay. Go back. I think I might try my next broadcast on Facebook. I'm going to try my next live broadcast there. Because yes, I do.